Jamie and Sandra, what's up, guys?
Not much, man. We're just reporting live from Greece, down in Palanesis. Just had an epic day of climbing, hanging out in the van. Just had a little steak and corn and
enjoying life,
man.
Living the life, huh? That's awesome. So,
man, what about you?
The usual in Norway, spending time in the rain and freezing, and buying Christmas gifts. Yeah, so at the time we're recording this, for the guys who's watching at home, it's the 22nd of December. I'm in Bergen, Norway, and Jamie and Sandra are in Greece in their van. Do you have a name for the van yet?
We've had one. Yeah, Good Time Sally.
She's not here for a long time, just for a good time.
She's actually from Norway. She's from Norway, so it's that's pretty cool. I got her in Voss, and she's done 60,000 kilometers since we started this trip, and
going strong.
She's got that Norwegian blood in her.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm gonna take this a little bit back. The first time I met you, Jamie, I'm not sure if you saw me at once, but I saw you at the moment you stepped on the edge, because the first time I saw you, that was on a 1,000-meter cliff in Gudvangen in Norway, and you were trying to fit a sock on your dick because you guys were doing nude base jumping, and Brandon and some other guy, they only had socks on their dicks and a parachute, but you also had a sock on your dick, and then you put a wingsuit on. So I didn't quite see the reason for that, but either way, that was pretty rad. So that was a nice first meeting.
I believe it was because they wore clothes up to the top, but we knew that we were going to wear wingsuits. So we figured we would just go naked on the helicopter and the whole way up there and give all the tourists driving by in the tourist bus. We wanted to make sure that they had the same privilege of a show as Veko would have that night in the videos.
I just remember the tour bus driving by, and they all have their socks on, and they're all doing like the floppy thing that guys do. As the tour bus goes by, I'm just like, oh god.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And so it's been a couple of years. I think that was in 2017, and a lot has happened since then. You were one of the first guys I started talking to after we got down from the mountain, and I remember you were so stoked about the photos we took that I think still to this day are pretty cool.
It was I'm pretty sure that was the world's first time that a wingsuit and a hang glider basically base jumped off a cliff. So, I mean, I met Wolfie's actually because of that, I'm actually really good friends with Wolfie still to this day, and you because of that. And I pretty much was just planning to do with Kyle, just a naked wingsuit jump to have some fun. And we met Wolfie on the exit, and I walked by and I was like, yo, homie, you feel like jumping off this mountain with me? And he looked at me and he's like, fuck yeah. And we really didn't know each other at all. And I was like, cool. So I walked up to the edge in a wingsuit, and he had a hang glider, and it was kind of intimidating because I'm like, I don't know how fast this thing goes. Is he going to hit me in the asshole with this thing and die? We're all going to die. But it turned out. I'm like, am I going to be the first guy to die with a hang glider up his ass?
That would be an epic way to go, though. That would be really cool. I remember I was really scared because that hang glider is so big. When you see it on a video, it's like it looks like a paper plane, but in reality, it's like, I don't know how many meters, like 5 or 7 meters wide. It's pretty huge.
It's intimidating, man. You're standing up on this cliff. You're already nervous. You're naked. You're standing in a wingsuit. I got this stupid unicorn thing on that I'm afraid is going to cover my face. I can't get it to stay on, so I just tied a double knot in this thing, and I'm like, oh, well. And then the jump goes, and I couldn't even say that it was a good jump. I pulled like shit. I go into this line twist. It's a complete shit show. I'm like spinning and aiming at the rocks, and I get out at the last second. And actually, it's pretty crazy. 2 of the guys that helped me on that year both died. So it was a pretty, I think that was a rough year in the base jumping community all in general. We had 21 deaths.
Yeah, I remember that was a rough year.
Yeah, so it was a very emotional, I think, Veko for everybody, and just in general. So it was a great experience, but at the same time, it also humbled me out that year. It was I don't know, it was almost like I had something to prove to myself, and Veko is always a place where you have that opportunity, where there's no limit of stupidity that you can bring to the table that's judged. It's like, bring your best thinking, your best A game, and send it for 1 week with all your homies. And when the dust settles, it's a good time to reflect back on yourself. And that's exactly what I did after that. So it was a life-changing trip for me that weekend, that week. Veko.
Yeah, that's cool to hear, because Ekstremsportveko is a pretty special festival. I reckon you guys have been to some crazy places, but I think Voss is one of the most, at least during that week, is one of the most special places in the world.
Mm-hmm. After Jamie went to Veko last year, he actually called and said that he didn't want to do what we did anymore. He didn't like our job. That for the first time in his life, he felt happy. And it's pretty much, your guys' fault. Thanks, guys. But it was literally the catalyst to the path we're on now was after that Extreme Sports Week. And he was like, I just want to do this all the time.
Well, Norway was actually the first time that I'd really been anywhere overseas. And as an American, Americans are very judgy individuals, and, we're very prude for being porn capital, all this. We're a very prude culture and very seclusive and a private culture. And when I went to Norway, I ran into a lot of Norwegians, and being naked was like this big thing that I kept getting called a pussy because I wouldn't get naked by, a lot of you guys. And then I kept questioning my existence, and I partied back then. So it was really like a week of like questioning, like I thought I knew, and I didn't really feel comfortable in America. And then I went to Norway, and I spent, a month there, and it was the first time in my life that I had ever felt more at home somewhere else than I did in my own country, in my own backyard. And it really was the catalyst that changed my life, because after that, I obviously been around the world in multiple different directions. And I've still to this day feel more at home in Norway than I've ever felt anywhere else. It's the culture is so, I don't know what rating this TV show or this podcast is, but I'm just going to say that there was Hendrix and some guys that year. I did some things in public that I if they weren't dead, they would tell some interesting stories about what we did that week. I'm not glad they're dead, but that's messed up. But I'm glad those secrets died with them, and we lost some of my heroes over the last couple of years, and we lost Micah, we lost Hendrix, we lost some other cool guys that were good friends and heroes. Yeah, exactly. So.
No, that's awesome to hear. So when the dust from COVID settles and you guys made your world record, then you guys gonna settle down in Norway, right?
No.
So many more countries. I mean, we have to go visit all of them until we're like, okay, we'll choose. But we probably won't even choose one. Honestly, we're gonna be like, okay, we need a summer house in this country, and we need a winter house in this side of the world, and it'll be the most countries you've never even. I probably don't even know exist yet.
Yeah, probably. I don't think I could. If I read all the names of the countries in the world, I wouldn't know half. I would know the names, but I wouldn't know anything about the countries.
I only still know half of them.
Funny story about that. When the pandemic hit, we were in Romania, and we were trying to go to Bulgaria, and then I had an acro class in Turkey, and when we went down to the Bulgarian border, they denied us. And I wasn't expecting that, so I didn't really know what to do, but the adventure had started. There was no turning back. We were so amped up that we started looking at a map, and we're like, we're just going to drive around the...
Bulgaria touches 5 countries, so one of these people, someone's going to let us in.
So all of a sudden, Sanders like, let's go to Serbia. And I'm like, why? You want to go to Siberia?
Siberia? Siberia.
I'm like, so I didn't, as an American, the war that when they broke the Balkans into all the different countries from Yugoslavia, I was just getting my GED in high school and partying back then. So like, I didn't know there was all these Balkans, or, I didn't know it was Yugoslavia, to be honest. So you start talking about Serbia and all these different countries. All of a sudden there's like, I don't know, man. I have no idea what's out there. I was learning country by country where we're going. I'm trying to learn how to say their names. Like I'm going to North Macedonia. They're getting pissed because it's Macedonia and it's their, I don't know. It's awesome. I think what it all boils down to is learning the different cultures. And, you know, Norway was the catalyst. So I'm very humbled to be and really excited to do this with you, because every time it seems that I go to Norway, you know, I knew that our life was going to be different. And I had messaged Sandra that I wanted to quit what we were doing, throwing events, because I wasn't happy. And, you know, in Norway, it was like, you know, you know what it's like. You can do anything you want. You can do it every day. And I decided, you know, I called her up on the phone and I was like, yo, so you're not going to get off the phone until we resolve this, but I'm just letting you know that I'm not coming home.
I'm not
Make this up, man. And so we didn't know how to make a living. We didn't know anything about it. So it's, you know, Norway was the time, and I was with my partner Jamie out there, and we were just trying to figure out, you know, and Norway was the place. And I questioned my base jumping. Again, it's a place where it's almost like you're a child, and, you know, you're not allowed to do these different things. And then all of a sudden you come to Norway and you can do anything you want, and you do all these different things. It gives you that opportunity to reflect and decide what it is, your path you really want. And I feel like that's something that I love about Norway. And I have nothing but positive stuff to say about Norway.
Maybe if it was cheaper.
God dang, it's expensive. Yeah.
Norway is pretty amazing, but there is a price to pay to live here, and that's paid in dollars and in Norwegian kroners.
Painful.
Yeah, painfully high. Okay, so Sandra, Jamie's in Norway for the second time, right? And then he calls you and says, I'm not coming home and we're quitting everything we do. What are you thinking?
First thing is, like, he has done bumped his head. This boy. I'm like, I can't to say he's kidding or, like, you know, psych, but it never comes. So I'm pretty much, I can't get off the phone, because he's like, I'm not getting off the phone, and I'm just going to wait till you for to say it. First thing I say is, well, how do we make that thing called money that, you know, pay the bills, you know, that whole lifing thing? And he says, I don't know, but I know I'm happy doing this, and I wasn't happy doing that. So the rest will fill in, you know, the blanks will fill in themselves, and they definitely filled in themselves.
We threw events, and a little back why I wasn't happy. We have a nonprofit, Just Care More, and it's my passion. It was helping children, foster kids. And I like helping kids that were like me. I was in foster care, in, you know, prison and group homes, addiction, all that. And when we started the nonprofit, it was a way for us to give back. And we use the runs and the different things to generate the funds to be able to pay for the camps, to be able to help out. So it was this conflicting thing, because ultimately all I wanted to do is help people, and I want to give back, and I want to share my views of awesomeness and what I think is rad. But in order to do that, I had to work this job that I didn't want to do. So I wanted to try it, and I knew that I had come to a head in life where I wasn't happy, and I wasn't going to go back and do it again. So the goal before the pandemic was I wanted to try to figure out how I could create a win-win, where I could give back for all the gifts and all the stuff that I have received, but also be able to do it in a way that I was happy every day, where I could wake up and achieve my dreams. And in return for that, I'm more than willing to give up everything to help others achieve their dreams. And I didn't know how to do it. So that was, you know, what we spent the year before COVID. You know, we drove down the entire coast of Denmark and Germany and Netherlands and then Spain and Portugal. Then we drove through all of the Alps, France, Switzerland, all these places. And we were just filming everything we just knew we wanted to create something rad. And when we got to Romania, I went to Thailand for 6 weeks to go clear my head by myself, to go on a bit of a walkabout, you know? And when I had got back, we were trying to start something new, because she was working on this thing called Manicorn. It was going to be like a merchandise and an e-commerce store and all that. We have a good marketing background.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
and I said to her one day, I'm like, listen, for the first time, we need to work together. And we need to, you know, take both of our strengths and put it into one thing. I'm tired of, you know, me wanting something else in life and us having this fear of not having an income. So we sacrifice what we truly want. And, you know, over about a week, we finally got on the same side. And, you know, but she kept saying, what's the point of it though? I'm like, let's just go film rad shit, right? Mm-hmm. Like, let's go film rad shit. We'll make a show. We got characters. I'm crazy. Our arguments are hysterical. and she just wouldn't let it sit. And she's like, one day,
I was like, something's missing.
Yeah, something's missing. And one day she walks out to me. I'm having coffee. I'm sitting there staring, finger fucking my phone. And she goes, I have this crazy idea. And I'm like,
sit down. I have a bomb to tell you.
Oh, so what'd you say?
Normally it's a bad thing, right? Like I have a bomb, but I was like, we're traveling around and it doesn't feel fulfilling. It doesn't feel like it has a purpose yet. I was like, what if we try to be the first people in all of history to fly in every single country of the world? And literally he just like sits there with his coffee and looks at me like I've bumped my head.
I'm getting goosebumps here right now. Like for real. Once you said that, I got goosebumps. And I really think like the story you just told about not being happy but still wanting to make other people happy. I think what you guys are doing now is really, really inspiring, because I don't think you have to stay in one place or teach a class to inspire and help other people. I'm thinking that the best people lead by example, not by holding a class. So I'm thinking that what you guys are doing now is more important than what you've ever done. At least in my opinion.
I heard, so it's really important that people know I did 4 years in federal prison, and I think it's important that people know I don't care about money. I've never cared about money, right? What I care about is experiences and adventures, and we can't take the toys with us. We can't take the money with us. But in the deathbed, I want to be able to look back and say I experienced life. So that means, yes, I've done things that are bad, but I've also done things that are good. They say, don't touch the fire. It's hot. I touch the fire because I want to know why it's hot. I want to know these different things.
How hot is it?
How hot is it?
Like really hot or like semi-hot?
So I think that the goal is to be able to share our wisdom of experiences with people. And the only way to do that, to be able to give that knowledge that we're both talking about right now, is to take the hits, to take the experiences, the good and the bad, keep a positive attitude through all of it, and understand that everything is a blessing and that everything that happens to us is something from us to learn from. And we take that into every country we go to and learn from the cultures. And it's eye-opening to know as an American how ignorant we are, that our school systems and our governments are not telling us what's really happening around the world. And it's so humbling to go to these countries and learn what real racism is, to learn what poverty is, to learn how privileged we are. And that's where we're at right now. Like, we love the benefits of being an American, but we love the benefits of being an American overseas and using the gifts that we've received from being American. And I think that we've both, Sandra and I, have reached our fullest potential in America. And I feel like, we were a small fish put into a big pond, and now there's plenty of room for us to grow into who we really want to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to hear.
Absolutely.
So let's take it back a little bit, because I've known Jamie, I met you a couple of times live, but we have been having touch online since we first met. So let's start with you, Sandra. Gives your life story in 2 minutes.
Life story in 2 minutes. Oh, man. So I was born in California, born and raised, grew up in a bubble, really didn't have the experiences that I wanted to as a kid. Kind of grew up kind of sheltered, was always kind of a wild child, but grew up in a very structured home. As I got older, I started to discover that life isn't always what you're going to want it to be. Unfortunately, my family had some issues. My father committed suicide when I was a teenager, which led to a lot of behavioral issues growing up. And that's where addiction came into play. That's where running away came into play. I started getting sent away to behavior modification programs. My teenage years were, in a nutshell, a shit show. And that's where Jamie and I can really relate and connect to each other, because we both didn't have the perfect childhoods that we wanted. But as we got older, we're now able to use those experiences to be able to relate to the people that we come across. And we're working with foster kids. That's why we really love to be able to really kind of share what we've gone through, to kind of help them go through what they're going through. When I met Jamie, I was actually a complete mess. I don't even know how he liked me. I wouldn't have even liked myself. I was going to clubs every day, almost drinking a lot. Definitely had a big drinking problem. And when I met Jamie, the day that I met him, he came into the bar. He was sober at the time. He had just gotten out of prison. I plucked him right out. And he sat across from where I was, I pour the beers, right?
Yeah.
And apparently I came with a friend and I didn't pour his friend's beer in time. So I got distracted. So he grabbed his friend's empty glass and put it on the other side of the spigot and then pressed it forward and poured the beer. My boss lost it. He was like, "Who is your friend? He needs to leave. I'm going to fire you," all this stuff. And I just remember thinking, like, who is this? Like, who does that? Like, who does that? And it's right then I needed that in my life. Like, I needed that kind of person that was just bold enough to be like, I do that. Like, I do that.
Mm-hmm. Enough about me. How about more about you.
And it was at that time that my life took a complete 180. I didn't do the extreme sports. I've never really been the extreme sports kind of girl. I had street bikes when I was younger, but I crashed all of them. And I say all of them because multiple street bikes that I've totaled. But I loved it. I loved everything about the sport life. I just never had the balls to really go into it. So after I met Jamie, that's when we started rock climbing. We started downhill mountain biking. I still hate that sport though. Downhill mountain biking. Nope. Scariest sport today.
That's terrifying. That's like one of the worst sports in my mind. Yeah. Trees are so fucking hard. People have no clue.
Yeah, seriously. But we did it.
We called Sandra, her nickname through my downhill racing career was Tumbelina, because anytime she got on a downhill bike, she just tumbled down the hill. It was fantastic. Tumbelina.
It was an interesting experience, to say the least. Then Jamie got into skydiving, and I watched him skydive for about a year. I was like, I've kind of always wanted to, but I'm kind of scared. After a year of watching him, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And then, nope, the rest is history.
Yeah. And how long is it since you guys met?
10 years.
10 years, a week or two ago.
Nice, congrats.
Thank you. Do you hear Freedom farting?
Freedom's farting over there. So Freedom, you're getting old lady. She's 9 years old. I've had her since she was 9. We were a rescue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we're sober now though. That's a big thing. We're 3 years sober.
So 3 years ago, we were on the boogie circuit for a while. We were traveling during these events, and we went from drop zone to drop zone to drop zone.
Yeah.
Now the thing is about when you live at drop zones and you show up to drop zones and people are excited you're there. There's
that stinks.
There's gonna be a lot. Oh my God. You're like this tiny van too. I open the vent here.
It's like burning my nostrils.
Oh God, Rita, it's bad. Okay, so the thing is that when you go to drop zone to drop zone, people are excited to see you. That typically is going to come with a lot of alcohol. It's going to come with a lot of beers. It's going to come with a lot of drugs.
Cocaine.
Lots
of cocaine.
So the problem is that when you're in new drop zone every weekend, you get in the cycle. And we got into this cycle, even though we had gone through drug addictions and then gotten, when we were younger and gotten sober, it kind of started worse the more we skydived and traveled.
Yeah.
And it reached a head finally where Jamie one day said, "Why don't we take a little break?" And he said, "Let's go 6 months without any drugs or alcohol." And I was like, I could go a month without beer, so let's do a month. And Jamie said,
she looked at me at first. Don't let her fool you. She looked at me at first and said, "You're fucking crazy." I was like, well, whatever.
I love beer and wine. So I was like, I don't know if I can get rid of that. But, I've had 2 DUIs. Like, it's probably not the best thing for me to drink. But then Jamie's like, okay, what about 3 months? I'm like, okay, I can do 3 months. And then
why were we sober?
We were just starting a new company called the Inflatable Run, a new event company. Yeah. And we really didn't want to have any reasons why our success didn't work. We wanted to make sure we were giving it our all and didn't have any hangovers to blame. That was the initial reason. Then after a while, it just, that was 3 years ago. We made that.
I think elaborate on it. I knew that I like sports, and honestly, I like hard drugs, and it's no secret. If anybody out there knows me, I love to mix cocaine, molly acid, and mushrooms all together in the same weekend and just go as hard as I possibly can. And I had this conflicting thing. I'm running a nonprofit, and I'm trying to help kids, but at the same time, I'm completely destroying myself and being a bad role model.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was terrified that I was doing these sports at the highest level, that I was going to do something, pack something stupid, or just not be on point. So we're starting a new business, and this is going through my head. Like, we're starting a new business. I'm a sponsored athlete. I'm running a nonprofit, and all I can think about is getting fucked up on the weekends. And like, I would go to the boogie, and I wouldn't even skydive. I wouldn't even do sports. I just wanted to go rage. And these were the perfect environment to do it for me. And I started to get scared, and I scared myself. And we were starting a new business, and I wanted to be a professional athlete. It's always been my dream to be where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see how far that I could go, and not have an excuse. There's so many people in my situation that were at the top, and then they become addicted to drugs and they blow it all. And it's a quick road down, and an addiction, and then ODing. And, you hear about it all the time. These people that could have been superstars, and they could have been on the top and reached all their dreams, but their addiction tore them back down. And I just remember one day saying, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that could have reached his dreams, but I couldn't do it because I couldn't stop doing drugs. And I could have helped more people. I could have helped kids, but I was, got arrested for doing something stupid. And now I might, I've tarnished the Just Care More Foundation. And so it basically all caught up with me after one long weekend on my birthday.
Yeah.
And it was at a moment I was like, I feel like I had won the gold medal for partying for years in a row. Like, I'm a gold medalist. Like, I'd been to prison for partying. I've, done more than most people ever done. And I've recovered from prison. Then I went back into drugs, toured the world doing sports on drugs. And I felt like if you could win a gold medal for partying, I'm a gold medalist. And I think it was time to retire. And that's where we're at now. And I can't even fathom doing drugs or drinking at this point because things are going so well. Yeah. I'm so scared to possibly lose
what you have right now.
What I have. Yeah. Oh my God, the clarity.
Yeah, we wake up at 5 every morning. Yeah, we got crazy talk.
We're having, I'm about self-growth, and the reality is I wake up every morning with one thing on my mind, is to be the best version of myself. So, I don't wake up like wanting other things. For the first time in my life, I wake up and I want to work on the show, Captain Manicorn. I want to make it the best it can be. I want to set the world record. I want to get to the next country. It's amazing, this gift I have of drive and clarity right now. And that's where I'm at. Like, we're literally not doing anything but working on the show. Yeah. All of my energy is focused for the first time on one thing. And I can't even express to people out there, if you're listening, that's where it's at. Knowing what you want, 1 in a million people probably even know what their dream really is. And then maybe even less than that have the courage to really go after it. So, if I can do it, coming with my background, hit the top, hit the bottom again, and climbing my way back up, I think anybody can. I think everybody can. And that's what our mission's about, showing the people that you can accomplish anything if you put your heart and soul into it and give it everything you have.
Fucking man, you can put that on a t-shirt. That was a beautiful explanation, because I think it's really hard for people who don't have a clear vision or a drive or a goal in life to know what to actually focus on and spend time on, because you see it like over and over again. Superstars with all the possibilities in the world, rich, famous, they can do whatever they want, and there's a really high suicide rate on celebrities, right? And why is that? They have everything going for them, but inside they're not whole. So so it's really interesting to hear that well, I have the same way of thinking, because it's not about money. It's more about experiences and what you make out of your day and how you choose to approach life. So I think you found the golden goose when it comes to mindset, at least. So
it's a lot of work, man. And I think the reality of it is that people aren't maybe willing to put the work in, and they don't believe that they can do it. We always say that people are most comfortable being uncomfortable. It's not that people can't do it. They just become so consumed with this rat race of a house. You have to go to college. You have to do these different things. Norway, I believe, I don't know the name of it, but I learned that you guys actually have a program designed for kids to come out of high school before college. And they get a grant for like $10,000 a year to go to sports, to do something else. Like, that's unheard of in America or anywhere I'm from. Yeah. So we get in this rat race, and that's where I was. I was in my own rat race of my own bullshit. And, you know, it's a scary thing. And I think that that's what we're really trying to get across, is that I think you can break it down into 4 steps. One is researching what your dream is, you know, taking the time to really dig into what is it that you want. I mean, what's your passion? What's your dream? What was it that you were in 5th grade and you were telling the teacher that you wanted to be an astronaut? You know, somewhere along the line, you lost grip with that, or someone told you couldn't do it, right? So the first step is like really researching what it is you want to accomplish. What's your dream? After that, the second step is making a decision. This is where I think that most people get hung up and they can't move on. People just don't eventually say, this is what I want, right? Like, this is what I want. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a veterinarian. I want to be a professional athlete. I want to run a podcast. Like, this is what I want, right? That's so powerful. Step 2. Step 3 is you have to make an actionable plan, right? And we spent, people don't know this, but we spent a year working 15-hour days making an actionable plan. Step 1, step 2, this is what step 3, to get to step 4, I have to accomplish this, right? Yeah. So after you make this list, this step-by-step process to reach your dream, then you have to put it into action. And that's when I call it a routine, right? Every day you have to wake up with the mindset, I'm getting up at 5. I'm going to work from 5 to 6 on this. I'm going to work from 6 to 7 on this, 8 to 9. And what this does is this creates a thing called a pattern. And once you create a pattern, you can start to notice trends. Is this working? Is this not working? Am I getting closer, right? But at the end of the day, if you're still working towards your dream, you're still progressing uphill. You're still climbing, right? Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of people lose focus, is that even though it's a tough climb, you're still getting, with every step you take, you're still getting closer to your dream. Yeah. And that's where we're at right now. It's super important. We're not making any money. All the money is going out. But like I told my mom, I would rather be poor and barely get by and be following my dream and doing exactly what I want every day than have all the money in the world and be dreaming about doing this. Yeah.
There's I can't remember exactly what the story is called, but there's a story about a fisherman and a lawyer. And the lawyer, do you know that one, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So for the people at home,
story.
Yeah, so in short, the story is about a rich lawyer who comes to a small village and meets a fisherman. And then he says to the fisherman, hey, I can see you catch a lot of fish. Why don't you save some money and buy another boat and then get some other fishermen to work for you, and then you can build a huge fleet of fishing boats, and then once you get old, you can sell everything and retire and just chill for the rest of your life. And then the fisherman says, well, that's what I'm doing now, right? You don't have to go through that whole process to get what you want. And I think, to tell you a little bit about my story, I started with breakdancing, like every American kid used to do. I started with breakdancing when I was 12 years old. I saw it on TV and I thought, like, okay, shit, this is pretty cool. And I only want to do that for the rest of my life. So I started dancing, and then we started to getting some shows at a local, like, senior citizens home and at a local mall and stuff like that. And little by little, we noticed that we could actually make money of it. And because there's 2 worlds in breaking. There's like this hardcore world where you only go to like breakdance competitions and it's all about style and developing yourself and having original moves and stuff like that. But if you're going to show that to the people on the street, they're like, yeah, that's cool, but can you do a backflip? So there's 2 different worlds, right? So we figured quickly out that we took our passion for breaking into theater. So we started making like 1-hour theater shows with different subjects and telling stories with breakdance on a theater stage. So the last, I'd say, almost 10 years, 9 years now, we've been touring all over Norway, playing over 1,500 shows, like in every small place and village and stage, like in the whole of Norway. And we managed to make a living for 8 people out of that dream of fucking spinning on my head. So you can do whatever you want. You just have to put your mind to it and just, like you said, just decide and then figure out in a way. Because I wouldn't picture myself doing anything else than like breakdancing, at least for many years. After a while, photography came into my life and I got really hooked on that. And I approached that the same way I approached the dancing, that I'm just going to do this and I'll figure it out on the way how to make money. But I think if money is not the most important thing in your life, it's easy to make good decisions. But if you're just working to work, there's so many people that just goes to the job and then work 7 hours a day, 10 hours a day, and go home, watch TV, and then repeat. And then they're like, oh, finally, weekend. And they spend the weekend doing the same thing they do every night, just like chilling at home, watching TV. And I can't imagine a more miserable life than that. So,
it's a powerful thing you just said. There's only 52 weeks in a year, which is only 104 days a year. So you're working 1/3 of your life. You're essentially working. And I mean, if you really think about it, you get off of work Friday and you're in the mentality to party Friday night and Saturday night, but Sunday you're back at it. And you know what I mean? Like, so you're never really I always say you're never really taking that time to grow because you're so working on what's happening today that you don't get the time to work on what you want for tomorrow. And that's where they get stuck, right? Everybody's so stuck in today that they can't progress. And that's what we're saying is like, that's the very first step is you have to research, take the time to work on yourself to figure out what it is you want. You found breakdancing. You're a great photographer, and anything you do because you're willing to take the time, you're going to succeed, and you're willing to take the hits. You're willing to burn your head, to fall, to crash. And so many people aren't, you're excited when you're learning, right? I'm excited when I'm crashing and learning because I understand it's about progression. And that's where people are scared. They're scared to take the hits of progression because they think it's a representation of failure. And they don't understand it's only failing if you quit. If not, it's just a lesson that you're not going to do again.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, if you want to become a good boxer, you have to take a couple of punches in the face, right? If you got scared after that initial first KO in the gym, you would never become a Mike Tyson, right? But you have to. I think everything that's worth doing is hard. And once you accomplish that goal, for some reason, that same people tend to start another project which is even harder. So I think people that sort of like figure it out, they enjoy the struggle. You just have to learn to enjoy doing the push-ups, doing the work to make the results you want, right? It's like a base jump. You have to endure the fucking hike up before you can do the fun stuff, right?
Exactly. It's rewarding. That you have to learn that the reward comes from the hard work. You can take a ferry up or a helicopter up or whatever you want, but anybody who's in our sport knows that there's something rewarding about the hike up and putting the effort in. And it's just an amazing thing. It's I don't know, I love it. Do you like base jumping?
Well, I like it when things go right.
Yeah.
When things go right for you. I don't base jump. It's the one sport I don't do because I usually need a little bit of room for error. Like I said, tumbelina, and there's not much room for base jumping, unfortunately. But so far, lately, all the base jumps you've been doing have been A-okay.
Nice. Let's knock on wood and keep it that way. So we're talking about, because both you guys and me are pretty driven at what we do. I mean, if I told my friends a year ago that I would be starting a podcast, they were like, yeah, get out of here. There's no way, right? But now we're sitting here, we're broadcasting to the world, and there's an old movie called Cutaway, which is based on extreme sport term, which is about cutting away all the crap in your life to be able to do everything you want, right? And I think that the content of that sentence is pretty understandable, but it's so hard to actually cut away and go. And you guys both like cut away everything, bought a van, and started an insane mission. So can you explain me the steps on once that phone call came from Norway to you, Sandra, and he's like, no, we're not doing this anymore. So how did you guys cut away everything and just start traveling?
Super easy. Just bought a van and left everything behind and bought one-way tickets. That's really all it was. The first step they say the first step's always the hardest, but really it wasn't that hard because we knew it was the first and the next step that had to happen.
Yeah.
So we bought Good Sally, 1,800 euros, best 1,800 euros we've ever spent, still going, and just started driving and talking and trying to figure out what we wanted to do and what our dream looked like. Hey guys, calm down.
It's a dog
we
party.
have our
And if you don't know, we pick up stray dogs everywhere. Bring it. Journey, be quiet.
Our wolf packs are growing up along the way.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Something I guess. Very talkative dog.
A lot of things to say. Journey, come here. You want to join?
Journey, you want to join the show?
You ask about.
All right. So
Journey.
you
ask
like you guys didn't have enough to do. You also started rescuing stray dogs.
Not anymore. I'm going to throw this one out.
So how many dogs how many dogs have you rescued so far?
We've actually rescued three dogs. We try to feed it. We started at kind of this project called Feed a Stray a Day, and essentially people all over the world have come together, and we're trying to use this hashtag Feed a Stray a Day.
Why don't you go over? She can join in. Well, we discovered in the Balkans, it's not like a lot of the other countries or America where they have shelters. They just have dogs everywhere.
Yeah.
And puppies, and it's really sad. Like, a lot of them have been hit by cars and they don't have legs.
I know.
And they're just skinny. They don't eat. And
Hey baby. How's it going?
Yeah. Hey guys, hi everybody. My name's Journey. I'm crazy. Journey actually has, I don't know if I can show you guys. I don't know if it's a video, but she actually has a heart, a very prominent heart, right? Yeah. It's craziest thing. As she got older, the heart got bigger, and we rescued her when she was about 4 weeks old from the forest in Albania. And my mom, or who found it, somebody found it, that she had a heart there. And so every time I see her, she's a representation of why we would do what we do. We wanted to help foster kids as we were going on, but it's so hard. And Sandra actually said to me her day, she said, it's my dream to help animals. I wanted to use my marketing skills, and I wanted to help animals by creating marketing campaigns to help animals get adopted.
Yeah.
And we were in Albania, and as you guys can tell, Sandra has my back 100%, and she's been helping me reach my dreams. And one day I saw all these puppies, and I told her, I was like, why do we have to wait until you're older for you to try to reach your dream? Why don't you reach your dream right now? And that's when it really hit her. And she was like, I was like, well, why don't we take one of the dogs and we can, try to foster it and find a home for it. And she said, no. She said no to me. And I was like, well, we'll just take it for a couple of days and we'll just foster it. And she agreed to it. And I knew I had tricked her. And we ended up keeping the Journey. But we ended up finding another one.
2 weeks later, we parked to get some gyros. And I see some kids near some bushes. It's something going on. So I walk over, and there's this little puppy in the bushes with wrapped legs, dying, can't walk, bloody. And we had just found Journey, right? We had just gone through the whole process of her peeing in the van and crying. But now we next to this other puppy that was dying, and there was a storm coming, a cyclone that's gonna be going on for a week, and we can't leave it here. So we pack up this other puppy. So now we have 2 puppies in the van, and we named her Little Bear. Brought her back to health. She had fleas, and of course she snuggled with everybody.
She had worms. I was pulling out worms out of her butt.
So then before we knew, we all had fleas. So it was a disaster. But we brought her back to health. She didn't have broken legs. Luckily, she was just in such bad shape that her kidneys were shutting down and her legs stopped working. And but we brought her back to life, and then actually found her home in America. Nice. Somebody watches our Instagram stories, fell in love with her, and said he wanted to take her. So he paid for the flights and took care of getting her there. And so now she lives in Texas. Little Bear is the happiest.
How amazing is that? Yeah. How amazing is that? That is so cool to hear.
Wait, it gets crazier. So while I have Little Bear and he's agreed to take Little Bear back to America, I'm paragliding in Greece.
You just dropped.
No, I've got Little Bear still in the van. and I'm about to drop Little Bear off in like 3 or 4 days. We're trying to figure it out. And as I going on a run in the middle of nowhere, this puppy, no bigger than 4, 5, 6 inches, comes running out of the bushes at me. I can't make this up, dude. I'm literally sitting there and like this little puppy magnet. I'm talking, there's nobody in 10 miles in any direction. We're at the top of a mountain paradise. And I grab this puppy and I'm yelling, Sandra! Sandra! And she's like yelling at me like what they, I pull this little brown, and we had just had some friends, Oliver and Amelia, that had shown up to join us for some crazy train in their van. And I walked right by my van and I walked right into their van, and Amelia was still naked sleep. I set the dog on their bed and I said, you guys talked about wanting a dog. Here you go. And I literally gave another dog to them. So that was the third dog in the last 6 months, and like I said, who's now in Spain with her. In Spain, yeah. So we found a win-win for both of us. Sandra is reaching her dream, helping animals, and we do it every day, feed a stray a day. I'm reaching my dream of exploring and pioneering and doing something that I think is worth devoting my life to. So I think it's a pretty cool package deal right now.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So I follow you yeah, it is. I followed you on Instagram for a long time. And one of the times that you were most active and like reflective and talking just about yourself, that was in Thailand. So you spent 6 weeks in Thailand, right? So how did that soul searching trip change you?
It changes you because you go by yourself. I went there without the intent of doing any extreme sports. I went there with not knowing anybody. I didn't have any plans. I just jumped on a plane with a one-way ticket and I went to Thailand by myself, and I just started backpacking and I just started going through, and I'm not a very people-friendly person outside of like a party environment. So for me, I really stayed seclusive, and I just backpacked and went on, missions every day. And I just keep moving, just like I do now. Every day I was in a new place, a new area. And I talked to Sandra a lot, but, we were going through, like, what do you want? Like, I still didn't know what I really wanted. And for me, I fell in love with Sandra again. I wanted the world. I was questioning my relationship with her. Is this good enough? What do we do? Like, I was questioning everything. I honestly thought that I was going to break up with Sandra. I thought that I was going to quit my business. I was like, I just want a fresh start. I'm not stoked on life. And then being away from Sandra made us grow fonder of each other because we were able to communicate on the phone. When you're with somebody every day, you take advantage, you what's it called? You say you take for granted what you have. Yeah. And when I was away from her, we talked every day about business and love and relationships, maybe having a kid. Like, we went through all the processes, and Sandra's always had my back through all my crazy ideas that I've wanted to accomplish. So I went through Thailand, like, with no filter, did everything you could dream of wanting to do, and I just got it out of my system. When I had gotten back, I came back with intention. I wanted to be with Sandra forever. It was a fact. It was guaranteed. I'm in love with her. I love her. She's the person that I want to do all of this with. So when I had talked to her about working together and unifying our efforts, and she said yes, it was like okay. It was like, okay, this is it. This is my partner. This is who I'm going into war with. This is who we're going to go through all the battles with. Yeah. And I'm stoked. So that's really what Thailand really brought her and me together more. And it also brought into conceptualize Captain Manicorn as something that could inspire people around the world to get off the couch and live their best life. And again, I'm a drug addict, man. I've done bad things. I've been in prison. I've been in group homes. I was not a good kid. I was not a good son. I was not a good boyfriend, and I feel like I am now. I feel like I'm in a great relationship with my parents. I feel like I have a great relationship with Sandra, with her family. I feel like I'm on track. I'm sober. Her and I are progressing every day. We spend hours. I meditate every day. Like, this is what we do. Like, we're growing. It's not just all crazy shit show and crazy sports and adrenaline. Yeah. It's 95% self-evaluating and figuring out why I do what I do and what I want to be and who I want to be, and then talking about it with Sandra so that the next morning when we wake up, we take the lessons from the day before and we take a new step forward and we become who we always dreamed of. And it's on shared uncharted territory for both of us right now. Every day is on, we don't know where we're going tomorrow. We don't know where we're going. We don't know anything. All we know is we're on a quest to do something that we feel, whether I succeed or whether we succeed, that it's bigger than us. And it's something that's so big and so powerful to take, listen, there's been 539 people that have been to outer space. There's less than 200 people recorded that have been to every country in the world. Yeah. There's a total of 400 people. There's less people that have even been to every country in the world that have been to outer space. You take that and you say that there's 2 felons. She's got 2 DUIs. I'm a convicted felon, did hard prison time. You add that in the equation. Now you're saying we're not just going to these countries, we're going to be driving through them, and that we're going to be flying parachutes, not just parachutes, but let me clarify. Wingsuiting, skydiving, paragliding, and speed flying.
And soon to be
paramotoring. Yeah. So you take all that in there and you think we're not just going by plane and going to tourist destinations. We're spending a month in every country. This is a 15-year plan.
We're like way deep in the back roads. Like
way deep.
We avoid the cities. We're like, oh, everyone goes there. Okay, let's go there.
So you figure you take all that into consideration. I think that in the end, Sandra and I will be the most traveled people in history. We'll have been to more places and seen more of the world than anybody else in history. That to me is something that even if I can't finish this, I hope somebody else sees the potential and the love that we have for air sports. And this is my love letter to aviation. This is my way of saying thank you for the gift that you've given me. And this is my love letter to aviation. I'm stoked on it. And
that should be the title of your documentary.
What?
My love letter to aviation.
It is, man. It's powerful. It's something that's bigger than us, and I hope that we're the people that we're meeting along the way. I can't express how many people go out of their way to help us. It's been the most humbling experience for us to learn to accept help, and that people don't want anything in return. They just want to help us accomplish this. That everybody's on board. That everybody sees how amazing of a quest this is. And it's humbling. Everywhere we go, everybody's bending over backwards to help us reach it, whether it's support we need financially or gear or whatever it is. I can't even express it. Before I can ask for it, people are like, take this here. Whatever I can do to help you guys, we want it. And it's been, I can't express that. I feel like we're on to something that people see the value in it, and it inspires me to want to be a better version of myself. And Sandra inspires me to she outworks. Nobody knows. She works 15 hours a day on a computer when we're not jumping off of things. And nobody knows all of this stuff about us, right? They just think we just do rad shit. But I can't express it. I'm just so stoked on life. I'm just ranting at this point. But I'm trying to tell the world how much fun it is and how hard it is. Yeah. And at the same time, I'm trying to do it in an hour. Like, here's the secret to life. I can tell you, these 4 simple steps, and you too can have what you want.
Yeah, but it's not that simple. I mean, I've been following you guys for a long time, and I think the only 2 modes Sandra are in are either in some flying contraption or with a laptop in her hand. That's or a dog. Yeah, this those 3 are constantly Sandra. So what you should do is make it like an avatar, like a comic avatar with Sandra, with a skydiving rig, dog in one hand and a laptop in the other.
That would be my avatar.
She's trying to do tandem. She's like, why don't you just get your tandem rating so I can just work on the computer while we fly?
I'll be so efficient. We could bring the dog, hook him up.
No, but here's a good, I don't know the timetable, but when Sandra came on this trip, you asked an important question. We kind of bypassed it. Sandra didn't know who she was. When I told her we were going to quit, she's like, this is all she's known. She's been working on a computer for 8 years, building these businesses. And I told her that's not what we're doing anymore. Yeah, I said, Sandra came on this trip, for the first year, she had to figure out who she was because she didn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and run campaigns for runs and all of this crazy stuff. Sandra's just now coming into terms, in my opinion, and accepting what we're actually doing. And that's been awesome for us both to learn. Is who are you now, Sandra? Do you know who you are yet?
What I realized was that I had this switch on autopilot for my whole life, and I was just kind of going through the motions, doing what I think I needed to do and doing what was necessary and right. And then really on this trip, I kind of I was touching the button, right? I'm just going to touch it, kind of see what happens. And then recently I turned it off. I was like, fuck this autopilot. And it's been hard. It's been emotional. It's been a roller coaster. And I've realized that turning autopilot off is probably one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do. It's really forced me to look at who I am, what I want to do, what I like, what I don't like. It was so much easier just waking up, going to work, trying to be healthy-ish and go through the motions. But it's been the most rewarding experience most of the time. Of course, anything that's worth doing is difficult,
Yeah.
right? But that's what my biggest takeaway has been, is just turning that autopilot off and just figuring out, like, how can I be a little bit better today than I was yesterday in some way. And I just try to do that every day.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm gonna give you an applause here. That is. I mean, you were describing right there what we were talking about, because I think so many people are going on autopilot, just like working for the weekend, going on autopilot, and I think you're actually making other people letting other people make your choices for you when you're going on autopilot. Yeah, somebody said you had to be at work at 7:30. Somebody said that you were going to work 8 hours. Somebody said that you were supposed to do this and that, right? But once you step out of that comfort zone and like take your own choices, being your own boss, and just like, fuck it, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do and figure out how to do it on the way. I think that's the recipe for a happy life. And I mean, I've been in the extreme sport community for about 7 years now, and you would think from the outside that all the people that are doing extreme sport are crazy people with no regards for their own life, other people's lives, and just fuck yeah, right? But what I'm seeing is that people in the community are more reflective, caring, and enjoying life than any other people I've ever met in my life. And that goes for like every sport, because I think once there's a level of risk and danger involved, then you have to make a choice, right? You have to make a choice. Okay, am I gonna paddle this waterfall, or just like head out of the river and grab a beer? And once you decide to like step out of that comfort zone and say like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it, then you're making a huge choice, and you have to like be in a state of mind that is really hard to get when you're not doing something that requires your whole concentration, right? So, and also I think people are more caring, because when it's life and death, there's no room for ego, right? You have to hug each other and say, okay, I hope we'll do this again tomorrow. So I think that makes a huge difference if you take normal people compared to extreme sport athletes, because then once that danger is involved, you have to leave your ego at the door.
Yeah, that's what we call the hike. For me, it was always on these base jumps or big speed flights or whatever, these big mountain projects that I do. I always say that, I think people that do what we do are more in tune with their feelings, because there's a level of acceptance. By the time I get to the exit, I've had to accept that I could die, or that I could, never see my family again, or I could be paralyzed, or whatever it is. So you come to this terms of acceptance of your life, and you have to, when you leave that exit, you've kind of said your piece, and you're at peace, because you can't bring that with you on the flight, because it endangers you from making cognitive decisions that could save yourself, right? Or save other people. So you have to hold yourself to that level of higher standard. And that's what those hikes represent for us and athletes and all in general. We are adrenaline junkies. It is a drug. We do love that rush. We do those things, but people only see on Instagram or YouTube, they just see that 60 seconds of rush and that amazing, visual, beauty that we create, those paintings that we're showing the world, but nobody wants to talk about how much work went into that 60 seconds of film. And that's, the story, there's no way around it with what we're doing. We're doing a tour for 365 days a year for 15 years. You're going to see the struggle. You're going to see the pain. You're going to see these things of my childhood, Sandra's childhood. You're going to see them surface, and you're going to see these things have an effect on our daily decisions. And that's kind of what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to teach the people out there that are not aware of the air sports. We've been in the sport a long time. They don't understand it. They don't know what paragliding or wingsuiting. They don't really know what these things are. So it's really hard for people to relate to what we do, and they don't understand it. And we're just basically monkeys clapping in the street for them, entertaining them, and they're waiting for us to die. But I think if we can tell the story that we're real people with real feelings and real emotions, and we're not just risking unnecessary risks, but we're following our dream because we believe in it so strongly that we're willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish it. And that's what we want to teach them. We want to teach them, that anybody can do this, anybody can do this. And we're willing to show you how. We're willing to show you the steps it's going to take to create your own dream and follow your own dream and be successful.
Amen. That's exactly what I told Ekstremsportveko once I was starting to work for them. I'm like, I'm going to start a podcast, and that's the most important thing that we do this year. Because at the first meeting, I was talking to them, and they were telling me that sometimes they have trouble getting normal people to relate to the festival and what it is, because it's not just Ekstremsport Festival. It's a festival. It's like a really good music festival. They have huge international singers and bands, and it's like you could go to the festival only for the music and don't experience any extreme sports, right? But it's still a huge festival for extreme sport. And I was like, the best way to get to know people is to look beyond exactly what you're saying with the 60-second clip, right? You have to talk to the people for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it takes, to like dig into the heart and soul of the people that are behind all these amazing paintings that you're painting visually online, right? And I think like just telling your story straight up with no filter, that's the best way to do it.
It's the reality. You wish, they say that most painters aren't discovered or famous until they're dead. And I'm really trying to not make that the case for athletes in general. I think that we're all beautiful people, from the OGs in the sport that pioneered this, that paved the way for us to be able to do what we're doing. I don't want to have to die for people to say how rad Jamie and Sandra were. I want people to understand that now and us to be able to share the joy together. I don't want to have to create a GoFundMe because Sandra is dead and raise awareness and try to have everybody. I would rather us all enjoy her alive and enjoy what we're doing now and have an open line of communication and help people understand what we're trying to accomplish. And that's the biggest thing from I can walk away with sports. I'm so tired of people waiting until you die to tell you how much they love you. And I'm so blessed with what we're doing in our networks that people reach out every day, and I'm able to engage with people all over the world. And I mean, hundreds of countries around the world, right? Where I'm reaching out with people and they're stoked with what we're doing and we're able to build relationships. And I feel fortunate that I don't have to die to feel loved. I feel loved by the people of the world right now. I feel loved by Sandra. I feel loved by my dogs. And that's a win. So when you say he died doing what he loved, I think that expression bugs me because people don't understand. It's not that we died base jumping. It's died we following our dreams, that we were taking life into our own hands, and we died doing something that was so passionate that we believed in, and it was worth dying for.
Yeah. But
and that's what we're trying to express to people.
Yeah. And I like what you're saying there because, Brandon died, is it a year ago now or 2 years ago? A year ago, right?
After just getting married, all kinds of stuff, right? It was crazy.
Yeah, and I remember, I met Brandon the same year I met you the first time, and like me and you, we talked. I talked a lot with Brandon online. I was actually supposed to visit him in America to go skydiving with him. But the thing is, the way I discovered him first was I actually read an old blog that he wrote called One Chance or something like that. And there he wrote a blog post where he said that he didn't like the term he died doing what he loved. He said that I don't want to die doing what I love. I want to live. I want to have grandkids. I want to be alive and still do this shit. So I agree totally. I don't want to see any guys dead to feel loved or like dying doesn't make anybody happy, right? So I think it's important to appreciate what you do and like don't have the mentality of like, yeah, he died doing what he loved. So fuck it, he died. It's terrible, right?
There's one rule to this game: don't die.
Yeah,
it's the only rule. There's no other rules. There's no rules to the game, and that's what people don't understand. There's only one rule: don't die.
Yeah. All right. So I want to, before we round this thing off, I want to step right back. And because I know you guys and you know me a little bit, and I know what you're doing, but I think we really, really need to clarify how insane this project you guys are doing is, because it is such a cool project and it's so immense. And I had no clue that you actually are going to spend 15 years on it, because I know I've been following a lot of people who like travel to every country in the world, and they do like, they even count like 1 day in Egypt, like that's one country, like check it off. But if you're going to spend 1 month at least in one place, it's going to take a fuck long time. So
But how else do you learn? You learn about cultures. Like there's no way you can't, unless you're willing to drive down the back roads and swap stories with people sitting on their porch and have, drink Kool-Aid and have and eat with people and join people for meals. How are you going to learn about them? That's the whole point of travel in the world, is learning.
We stepped on a dock last night, way out in the middle of nowhere, and fishermen are coming, taking their boats out in the morning, showing us their barracudas that they caught. You can't experience that any other way.
All right. So you're going to fly a parachute or some kind of flying object in every country in the world. How many?
For layman's terms, we call it a parachute because it's what people call paragliding. But we don't know the word. We honestly thought about it for a long time. We don't know how to say we're going to do air sports in every country of the world.
Yeah,
but we're honestly, like I said, we're going to skydive, we're going to paraglide, speed fly, and wingsuit in every country of the world.
Yeah, so depending on if there's a cliff or a big mountain or just a takeoff, then you switch gears on what fits you, right?
No, we do all four. We do all four. One weekend we're focusing on skydiving, one weekend wingsuiting, one weekend paragliding, one weekend speed flying. That's why we spend a month there, because we want to go from environment to environment, from mountains to drop zones to fly sites and to the beaches. Jumping out of tandems, jumping out of paramotors. We want to meet the community. That's how we travel. We go from one community to the next. Maybe one group of paragliders, they tell us about things that we need to go do or try or visit, and we go explore those. And then we meet more people, and it's this chain reaction. Everywhere we go, we keep meeting new people, and they keep telling us the things we need to go try, and we just keep going with it. We just keep going with the flow, and that's where we live like that. Just story to story, adventure to adventure.
And because we have so much adventure gear, I mean, we have, how many wings do we have? I don't even know. We don't even know the count. Between the wings and the skydive gear and the base jumping gear and the rock climbing gear and just all of the adventure gear we have to have a van. There's no other way we could travel around.
Yeah.
And we just built a big old box on the top of it, so now we're able to travel with all of our gear.
Nice.
So we can't take planes. Could you imagine the cost of that check-in gear? It'd be ridiculous.
Nope.
But you didn't make it easy for you. You could just do one, but you decided to do like all four sports.
I mean, well, they're my passions. I love wingsuiting.
Yeah,
I like skydiving. I love paragliding. I love speed flying. And, we get to see things from a different point of view. We go to the city sometimes, but honestly, we always get our van towed, or we get in trouble, or we get parking tickets. It's really hard to be in a van and try to find somewhere to shit in the morning and living in a van in the middle of a city.
Yeah.
So, real man, it's hard. I gotta pee. I'm driving through. I've had like 9 coffees, and I gotta pee.
You got 2 dogs.
You got 2 dogs. What am I supposed to do in the middle of a city with a van and 2 dogs and having to pee? So honestly, real talk, it's hard.
Yeah.
So for us, I think that we're fortunate. We see the city stuff. I get it. But at the same time, we're seeing things that nobody would even see. I'm flying above bays. I'm climbing on cliffs. We're speed flying down mountain terrains where we're camping. We're paragliding and coastal soaring or cross country flying. We're so fortunate because those 4 different tools that we're using to travel and accomplish this record, we're able to see things that nobody in history will be able to see, to put it all together, to make this one big painting. It's like looking at the solar system is how I feel, like how big our mission is to us. It's like, it's endless. It's an infinity amount of possibilities. And that's what makes it the impossible dream. There's no such thing as an impossible dream.
Nice. So what can people do to help you or cheer you along the way to reach this goal?
Right now, I mean, we're honestly actually doing this thing. We're actually we do giveaways, which is kind of cool for us. We wanted to give
stakes.
It's called the Dream Stakes.
Our dream is to not only follow our own dreams, but to help our viewers reach their dreams all over the world. So we're trying to figure out a way that was a win-win that could help us reach our dream, also helping our viewers. We didn't want to just ask for money or just sell merchandise.
We don't want viewers to have to pay for what we do. We wanted to be able to make this sustainable without asking people at home to pull out their wallets. So
so our dream stakes concept, the ultimate dream is to work with brands and to work with sponsors that essentially allow us to do giveaways. For example, win $10,000 to rent a van and drive through Europe, win a plane ticket to anywhere in the world, essentially have items that people dream about that might be out of their wheelhouse, have sponsors pay for it, and be able to give these away to our viewers. Or it's like a raffle. Viewers can also donate to our cause and buy extra entries in the raffle.
Yeah.
So that's what we're developing right now. We've actually got our first sponsor that we're working with. Super excited to be launching in the next couple of weeks, right?
Direct Solar.
Yeah. So, so our dream of creating the dream stakes and helping other people reach their dreams is slowly coming into fruition.
We started off like simple, we started off with a backpack, then we gave away a skydive, and now we're giving away a $2,500 vacation, and they're helping us create this, and eventually it's going to be, bigger. So that's the one way that people can help is enter the giveaway and show, the other way that we do it is we raise money to feed the strays, like donate $2 so we can get cans of food for strays. Tell your friends about it. Tell people what we're trying to accomplish. If there's brands out there that want to get behind something of this magnitude, a world record, help out. We want to treat it like it's a business, and we're willing to work hard and produce results. And in return, we want to be able to give viewers the best content we can. And we're learning, we started off with GoPros and handhelds, and it's shaky footage, and and I don't have a DSLR, but we're progressing, and now we've got an outside film crew that's joining us for season 3. Nice. So the dream for us is picked up by Netflix. We want this on HBO. We want to take this as a reality show, adventure pioneer reality show. So that's the big goal, is for the viewers to hit the like, to hit the share button, to subscribe, so the networks out there see that we're worth something investing in. And then we can, instead of making all the money in the world, we can have a bigger audience, and then that's where we share what we're trying to accomplish and the gift that we have. So it's a cool thing, man.
Nice. So how are you going to spend Christmas?
When's Christmas?
When's Christmas?
In 2 days.
It's a really long time in our world, like 2 days. Where are we going to be? It's
rough. The pandemic, honestly, we're probably going to be with Sandra and me and the 2 dogs, Greg, our film crew, and probably maybe go fishing, do some paragliding, some climbing, and maybe just have a really good steak dinner, and just, be thankful for what we have. I'm not a big Christmas guy. I'm more, I'm half Jewish, half Catholic. So I did Hanukkah and Christmas growing up. I'm more of a New Year's guy. I'm more of a true New Year's guy, and reflecting on life. And I'm really big on making, New Year's resolutions and really challenging our thinking. So I'm really looking more to New Year's. And, 2020 was a rough year for everybody, but it was also the biggest gift in the world for us. So it's a conflicting thing, the world's suffering out there. It's a hard time for everybody, and people are still donating and becoming donors. And it's so humbling, and it's, it really messes with our hearts that people in tough times are even helping us, or you having us on this podcast. The world's suffering right now. Yeah. People are in pain. They don't know what's going on, and everybody's really scared. So for Christmas this year, I'm just going to be thankful that I am in a situation and I'm around people that are like-minded, that we all want the best for the world and we want the best for each other. So I'm just going to take this time to be appreciative of what we have.
I think we should drive around and get little Christmas meals for all the puppies or all the doggies.
Oh my God, that's what we're doing for Christmas. We are gonna feed 20 stray animals this Christmas. That's what we committed to. We're gonna buy 20 cans of food, drive around on Christmas. And we're gonna feed 20 stray dogs a can of food this Christmas. That's what we're gonna do.
That's beautiful.
That's how we're gonna spend Christmas.
All right, Sandra, Jamie, it was a pleasure talking to you guys. I love following you guys online, and I really hope that in the future I get to come join you for whatever it is. If it's skydiving in Greece or paragliding in the Ukraine, I'd love to join you sometime. And I also, since the van is born in Norway, I think you should end the whole project with coming back to Ekstremsportveko.
I agree. I agree. We love it there. So I cannot agree more with you. I can't express how thankful we are for you taking the time to talk to us, to let us tell our story. It means the world to us. I was excited about this. I'm excited to see your channel grow and your success blossom, and you deserve it, and I appreciate it, and I can't express how thankful we are enough.
Likewise. Thanks a lot. So before we wrap up, where can people find you and follow you along?
Captain Manicorn. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and anyone who does follow us, send us a message. Say hi. We love talking to everybody from around the world. It's one of our favorite things to do. Jamie wakes up literally 5 a.m., super stoked every morning, and go on and check messages and talk to people. So if you do follow us, please make sure to say hi. We'd love to hear from you.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Captain
Unicorn.
All right. I'll make sure to put it on the links below. All right, guys, that's it for this Ekstremsportveko podcast. Thank you to Jamie and Sandra, and we wish you all the best of luck with flying your human bodies in every country in the whole world. Peace.
Yeah, man. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.